They thought your silence meant you were weak. They mistook your stillness for fear. They assumed that because you don't argue, don't defend yourself, don't chase validation, you must have nothing to say. But what if your silence is not submission? What if it is strategy? What if every time you chose not to react, you were actually protecting something sacred inside you? There is a reason you feel different. A reason you observe more than you speak. A reason people project onto you, misunderstand you, even feel threatened by you without knowing why. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not invisible. You are chosen. And silence is your weapon. To be a chosen one does not mean fame. It does not mean perfection. It does not mean you walk through life without struggle. It means you carry awareness. You see patterns others ignore. You feel energies others dismiss. From a young age, you probably felt out of place. Too deep for shallow conversations. Too reflective for noisy rooms. You learned early that not everyone deserves access to your thoughts. Not everyone can handle your depth. Not everyone is meant to understand your journey. Being chosen often feels like isolation before elevation. It feels like being misunderstood before being respected. It feels like losing people before finding purpose. And when you began awakening, everything changed. You started questioning what you once accepted. You started noticing manipulation, hypocrisy, and spiritual emptiness around you. You became quieter, not because you had nothing to say, but because you finally understood the power of restraint. Silence protects vision. Silence protects plans. Silence protects destiny. The world rewards noise. It celebrates those who shout the loudest. It pushes you to constantly explain yourself. But the chosen move differently. They build in private. They heal in private. They pray in private. Your silence is discipline. It is emotional mastery. It is spiritual maturity. You no longer react to every insult. You no longer chase every opportunity. You no longer argue with those committed to misunderstanding you. That is not weakness. That is evolution. Society often tries to silence the chosen not by force, but by doubt. They question your confidence. They label your solitude as arrogance. They say you have changed. And they are right. You have changed. You no longer shrink to make others comfortable. You no longer overshare with those who gossip. You understand that every word carries energy. And you refuse to waste yours. When you stay silent, you are observing. When you stay silent, you are learning. When you stay silent, you are allowing truth to reveal itself. The chosen are often tested through betrayal, through rejection, through seasons of waiting. Why? Because silence builds strength. It forces you to face yourself. It forces you to confront your fears without distraction. In those quiet moments, you met your shadow. You wrestled with doubt. You questioned your worth. And you survived. That is why your silence now carries weight. It is not empty. It is earned. When you walk into a room, people feel it. Not because you are loud, but because you are grounded. Your calm unsettles chaos. Your restraint exposes insecurity. Your peace irritates those addicted to drama. You do not need to announce your growth. Growth speaks through behavior. Transformation shows through consistency. The chosen understand timing. Not every battle requires engagement. Not every opinion deserves response. Sometimes the most powerful move is no move at all. Silence confuses manipulators. It frustrates those who crave reaction. It protects you from revealing your next step. You are not here to entertain negativity. You are not here to prove your worth. You are here to fulfill a higher purpose. And purpose requires focus. The enemy of destiny is distraction. Arguments are distractions. Drama is distraction. Endless explanations are distractions. Silence keeps you aligned. It keeps your heart clean. It keeps your intentions pure. It keeps your path clear. Being chosen does not mean life is easy. It means your trials are shaping something greater. It means your isolation was preparation. You were separated to be strengthened. You were misunderstood to build resilience. You were silenced so you could hear the truth within. Now you move differently. You speak less but mean more. You reveal less but understand more. You are strategic. You are disciplined. You are awake. And the more you grow, the quieter you become. Not because you are shrinking, but because you are ascending. If this message resonates with you, it is not by accident. You were meant to hear this. You were meant to remember who you are. Stop apologizing for your quiet nature. Stop explaining your boundaries. Stop doubting your depth. Your silence is not weakness. It is wisdom. Embrace it. Protect it. Master it. And if you are ready to fully step into your awakening, then show it. Like this video to declare you are done shrinking. Comment silence is strength if you know you are chosen. Subscribe to return to awakening and stand with others who refuse to dim their light. This is your season of strategic silence. Move in wisdom. Rise in power. There is another layer to this that most people will never understand. Your silence is not only protection. It is preparation. While others are busy broadcasting every idea, every emotion, every temporary feeling, you are refining. You are sharpening. You are aligning. Chosen ones are not impulsive. They are intentional. You have learned the hard way that not everyone clapping for you is for you. Not everyone smiling at you supports you. Not everyone asking questions deserves answers. So you became selective. Selective with your words. Selective with your energy. Selective with your access. And that selectiveness made some people uncomfortable. They preferred the old version of you. The version that explained too much. The version that reacted instantly. But growth demands boundaries. When you stopped reacting, they tried harder to provoke you. When you stopped explaining, they accused you of being secretive. When you stopped chasing, they called you distant. But what they don't realize is this. A lion does not announce its next move. An eagle does not explain why it flies alone. The chosen move with awareness. You understand that every reaction is a transaction. Every argument is an exchange of energy. Every emotional outburst is an opening. And you refuse to give cheap access to something sacred. Silence forces people to reveal themselves. When you stop talking, others start exposing who they truly are. When you stop defending yourself, truth begins defending you. Have you noticed that? When you remain calm, chaos becomes louder. When you remain steady, instability becomes obvious. Your silence becomes a mirror. People see themselves in it. And not everyone likes what they see. That is why some resent you. Not because you did something wrong, but because your discipline highlights their lack of it. Your self-control exposes their impulsiveness. Your patience exposes their insecurity. And that makes them uncomfortable. But understand this clearly. You are not called to correct everyone. You are not assigned to save everyone. You are not responsible for managing other people's emotions. You are responsible for guarding your mission. And missions require strategy. There are seasons where you speak boldly, and there are seasons where you observe quietly. Right now, your quiet season is building something unseen. In the silence, you are hearing guidance more clearly. In the silence, you are noticing patterns more sharply. In the silence, you are becoming emotionally untouchable. That emotional strength did not come overnight. It came from heartbreak, from betrayal, from being misunderstood over and over again. Each experience trained you. You learned that over-explaining drains you. You learned that defending yourself to committed doubters is pointless. You learned that peace is more valuable than being right. So now you choose peace. Not passive peace. Not fearful peace. Powerful peace. The kind of peace that comes from knowing who you are. The kind of peace that comes from trusting the process. The kind of peace that does not need applause. And the more you embody this, the more you notice something shifting. Doors closing that once distracted you. People drifting away who once drained you. Opportunities aligning quietly in the background. Silence clears space. It removes unnecessary noise. It filters weak connections. It strengthens your discernment. You begin to feel guided rather than pressured. Directed rather than confused. Anchored rather than scattered. This is not accidental. Chosen ones are often hidden before they are revealed. Hidden from crowds. Hidden from constant attention. Hidden from premature exposure. Because premature exposure can destroy unprepared potential. Silence protects your becoming. While others rush to prove themselves, you are building substance. While others chase recognition, you are cultivating depth. While others speak about plans, you are executing quietly. And when the time comes, your results will speak louder than any explanation ever could. That is the paradox of the chosen. The quieter they become, the stronger they grow. The less they seek validation, the more undeniable they become. And one day, the same people who misunderstood your silence will call it wisdom, but you will not need their approval. Because by then, you will already know there is something else you need to understand. Silence is not emptiness. It is containment. Containment of vision. Containment of power. Containment of transformation. Not everyone is meant to witness your becoming. Some people only knew the version of you that was still searching. They are not assigned to the version of you that has found clarity. That is why distance happened. It was not punishment. It was protection. When you began to wake up, your conversations changed. Small talk felt heavy. Gossip felt toxic. You started craving depth, meaning, purpose. And when you stopped participating in shallow energy, people felt the shift. They could not access you the same way. They could not trigger you the same way. They could not manipulate you the same way. So they called you cold. But you are not cold. You are controlled. There is a difference. Coldness is absence of feeling. Control is mastery of feeling. You still feel deeply. You still care. You still love. But you no longer allow emotions to control your direction. That is spiritual maturity. A chosen one must learn emotional discipline before elevation. Because without discipline, power becomes destruction. Silence teaches discipline. It teaches you to pause before reacting. It teaches you to think before speaking. It teaches you to listen beyond words. You now hear what people are not saying. You sense intentions behind compliments. You detect insecurity behind criticism. And that awareness changed everything. You no longer argue with ignorance. You no longer chase closure from those who lack accountability. You no longer beg to be understood. You let actions reveal truth. That patience makes you dangerous in the best way. Because while others are emotional, you are strategic. While others are reactive, you are calculated. While others expose their plans, you guard yours carefully. Understand this clearly. When you stop oversharing, you stop leaking power. When you stop responding to every attack, you stop feeding opposition. When you stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you, you reclaim authority over your energy. And authority is a sign of alignment. The chosen are aligned internally before they are elevated externally. That alignment comes from long nights of reflection, from uncomfortable self-confrontation, from admitting flaws and correcting them quietly. Most people broadcast their growth. You embody it. Most people announce their goals. You execute them silently. Most people seek attention. You seek refinement. That is why your journey feels lonely at times. Because depth is rare. Discipline is rare. Self-awareness is rare. You are not lonely because you are unworthy. You are lonely because you are evolving. And evolution separates. Not permanently, but strategically. There are levels to consciousness, and every level requires leaving something behind. Old habits, old environments, old versions of yourself. Silence helps you detach without chaos. Instead of dramatic exits, you simply outgrow. Instead of loud confrontations, you quietly reposition. Instead of revenge, you choose redirection. That composure confuses people. They expect retaliation. They expect emotional explosions. They expect you to defend yourself publicly. But you disappoint their expectations. You choose dignity. And dignity carries weight. You are beginning to understand something powerful. Not every attack requires defense. Not every rumor requires response. Not every misunderstanding requires correction. Time reveals what arguments cannot. Consistency exposes what explanations never will. You have learned to trust that. You have learned that silence, when combined with integrity, becomes evidence over time. And the longer you remain disciplined, the clearer your path becomes. You are not disappearing. You are concentrating. You are not withdrawing. You are preparing. You are not weak. You are focused. This phase is not about proving yourself. It is about building yourself. In the quiet, your character is being fortified. In the stillness, your discernment is sharpening. In the solitude, your identity is solidifying. That is the unseen work of the chosen. No applause. No audience. No validation. Just growth. And when the time arrives for you to speak, your words will not be emotional noise. They will carry authority. Because they will come from someone who mastered silence first. There is a sacred rhythm to your journey. Speak when led. Be silent when instructed. Most people talk to be heard. You speak when it matters. That difference is everything. Silence has trained your perception. You now see cycles repeating in people's lives. You notice how patterns expose character, while others are distracted by appearances. You observe consistency. That is why you no longer rush into connections. You study energy. You test alignment. You have learned that not everyone who understands your pain is a sign to your future. Some were lessons. Some were mirrors. Some were warnings. And instead of reacting emotionally to every ending, You began responding strategically. You stopped asking, "Why did they leave?" and started asking, "What did this teach me?" That shift changed your trajectory. Because chosen ones are not victims of experience. They are students of it. Every betrayal sharpened your discernment. Every delay strengthened your patience. Every rejection redirected your focus. You started to realize that silence after pain is more powerful than revenge after pain. When you did not retaliate, you broke cycles. When you did not expose secrets in anger, you elevated your character. When you did not chase those who walked away, you preserved your dignity. And dignity builds authority. Authority is not loud. It is stable. It does not fluctuate with opinions. It does not collapse under criticism. It stands firm. You are becoming that firm presence. People may not understand your restraint now, but they feel it. They sense that you are no longer easily accessible. They sense that your reactions cannot be predicted. They sense that your energy is guarded. That unpredictability unsettles those who rely on control. Because when they cannot trigger you, they cannot steer you. When they cannot provoke you, they cannot manipulate you. And when they cannot read you fully, they cannot strategize against you. This is why silence is strategic. It denies access to your internal world. It prevents emotional exploitation. It preserves clarity. You are not hiding. You are filtering. You are not afraid. You are intentional. There is a difference between isolation and incubation. Isolation weakens. Incubation strengthens. You are in incubation, a season where ideas are forming quietly, where confidence is solidifying internally, where conviction is deepening without announcement. Think about it. Seeds grow underground before they ever break the surface. If they demanded attention too early, they would be destroyed before maturity. Your silence is your underground growth. No one sees the roots forming. No one hears the stretching. No one applauds the process. But when you rise, it will not be fragile. It will be anchored. You are anchoring yourself right now. Anchoring your beliefs. Anchoring your discipline. Anchoring your identity. So that when visibility comes, it does not shake you. Because visibility without inner stability destroys many. You are being prepared differently. You are being trained to handle pressure, to handle misunderstanding, to handle responsibility. And that training happens in silence. While others talk about what they will do, you are quietly becoming capable of doing it. While others seek platforms, you are building foundation. And foundation determines longevity. The chosen are not built for temporary hype. They are built for lasting impact. That requires depth. That requires patience. That requires silence. You are no longer desperate to be seen. You are committed to being solid. And solidity takes time. It takes resisting the urge to respond instantly. It takes resisting the temptation to prove yourself. It takes resisting the need for constant validation. Each time you resist, you grow stronger. Each time you remain composed, you reclaim power. Each time you choose silence over chaos, you level up internally. You are mastering something rare. Emotional independence. The ability to remain centered, even when misunderstood. The ability to remain calm, even when criticized. The ability to remain focused, even when distracted. This is not accidental. This is refinement. And refinement is rarely loud. Refinement happens in pressure, in stillness, In restraint, you have felt that pressure. The pressure to explain yourself. The pressure to defend your choices. The pressure to shrink so others feel comfortable. And every time you chose silence instead of surrender, you strengthened something invisible. Your backbone. Chosen ones are not built through applause. They are built through resistance. Resistance from environments that never truly understood them. Resistance from people who projected their fears onto them. Resistance from systems that reward conformity over consciousness. You were never designed to fit perfectly into a loud world. You were designed to see through it. That awareness can feel heavy, because once you see clearly, you cannot unsee. You notice manipulation in conversations. You notice insecurity disguised as arrogance. You notice envy hidden behind fake support. And instead of calling it out every time, you detach. Detachment is not weakness. It is wisdom applied. You realize that correcting everyone is a distraction from correcting yourself. You realize that proving your truth to skeptics is a waste of sacred energy. So you redirected that energy inward. You began strengthening your mind, sharpening your discipline, purifying your intentions. That internal work is silent. No one sees the habits you broke. No one sees the temptations you resisted. No one sees the prayers whispered in private. But that unseen work is what separates you. You are not chasing temporary reactions. You are building permanent character. And character is revealed under pressure. When rumors spread, you stayed composed. When misunderstood, you stayed grounded. When excluded, you stayed focused. That consistency is power. Because most people collapse when they are not validated. Most people panic when they are not applauded. Most people overreact when they are not understood. But you endured quietly. That endurance is proof of growth. You are no longer addicted to being right. You are committed to being aligned. You no longer need the last word. You need the right direction. There is a calmness developing in you. A steadiness. A controlled fire. A quiet confidence. It does not need to announce itself. It does not need to intimidate loudly. It simply exists. And that existence shifts rooms. When you walk in, you are not loud, but you are felt. Because energy refined in silence carries weight. You have become comfortable with being underestimated. That is strategic. When people underestimate you, they reveal their assumptions. When they assume you are passive, they relax their guard. And while they are relaxed, you are observing, learning, adapting, positioning. You are no longer reacting emotionally to being overlooked. You understand something deeper. Being overlooked is sometimes protection. It gives you space to build without interference. It gives you time to develop without pressure. It gives you freedom to evolve without expectation. And when you finally step forward, you will not be stepping forward as potential. You will be stepping forward as preparation fulfilled. This is why your silence matters. It is not accidental behavior. It is cultivated control. You have learned that not every thought deserves expression. Not every feeling deserves reaction. Not every opportunity deserves acceptance. Discernment has become your filter. You weigh conversations before engaging. You assess intentions before responding. You measure consequences before speaking. That level of awareness is rare, and rarity often feels isolating. But isolation is sometimes the cost of clarity. You chose clarity. You chose growth over gossip. You chose discipline over drama. You chose elevation over ego. And ego is loud, but elevation is quiet. You are elevating, not by broadcasting your progress, but by embodying it. Every silent boundary you set redefined your standards. Every conversation you walked away from protected your peace. Every time you held your tongue, instead of releasing anger, you strengthened your self-mastery. Self-mastery is the true sign of the chosen. Not influence, not popularity, not visibility. Control over self. And you are gaining that control, layer by layer. The world may misinterpret your silence, but you understand it. It is your training ground, your shield, your strategy, and you are still evolving within it. There is a shift happening inside you that cannot be reversed. You no longer feel the urge to respond immediately. You feel the urge to understand first. That pause between stimulus and response is where your power lives now. Before you reacted, now you assess. Before you explained, now you evaluate. Before you sought agreement, now you seek alignment. That evolution is subtle, but it is massive. Because the moment you stopped needing validation, you became unpredictable to those who depended on your reactions. You are no longer easy to read. Not because you are fake, but because you are disciplined. You reveal what is necessary. You withhold what is sacred. That boundary protects your momentum. Momentum is fragile when exposed too early. Dreams weaken when shared with doubters. Plans collapse when discussed with the wrong audience. You learned that the hard way. You shared visions once. They were minimized. They were mocked. And instead of quitting, you went quiet. That quiet was not defeat. It was recalibration. You adjusted your circle. You adjusted your habits. You adjusted your expectations. You stopped expecting deep understanding from shallow minds. You stopped expecting loyalty from inconsistent hearts. You stopped expecting support from competitive spirits. And when your expectations shifted, your disappointment decreased. That emotional stability is growth. You are no longer shaken by every opinion. You are no longer wounded by every critique. You are no longer distracted by every rumor. Because you know who you are becoming. An identity rooted internally cannot be uprooted externally. That is the strength forming within you. You are beginning to move with calm certainty. Not arrogance. Not pride. Certainty. A quiet knowing that you are on a path. That requires patience. Patience is uncomfortable. It demands trust without immediate evidence. It demands discipline without instant reward. It demands silence when ego wants noise. But patience multiplies power. Every time you wait instead of rushing, you protect your standards. Every time you stay silent instead of arguing, you preserve your authority. Every time you observe instead of reacting, you gain information. Information is leverage, and leverage changes outcomes. You are not passive. You are positioning. Positioning requires timing. You are learning that timing is everything. Speak too early, and your words lose impact. Act too soon, and your strategy collapses. Trust too fast, and your focus gets compromised. So you wait. Not lazily, but intentionally. Waiting while building. Waiting while refining. Waiting while strengthening. That type of waiting separates the chosen from the impulsive. Impulsiveness seeks immediate relief. Strategy seeks lasting results. You are choosing lasting results, even when it costs you recognition. even when it costs you applause, even when it costs you companionship. Because deep down, you understand something most people ignore. Short-term validation is expensive. It costs integrity. It costs focus. It costs peace. And you are no longer willing to pay that price. Your silence is evidence of that decision. You would rather be misunderstood than misaligned. You would rather be underestimated than exposed prematurely. You would rather be alone than surrounded by noise. That mindset is not common. It is cultivated through trials, through nights of questioning yourself, through moments of feeling invisible, through seasons where nothing made sense. But those seasons carved depth into you. Depth cannot be faked. It shows in how you handle pressure. It shows in how you manage conflict. It shows in how you respond to disrespect. You no longer collapse under pressure. You compress it. And compressed pressure creates strength. You are stronger now because you stopped speaking impulsively. Stronger because you stopped defending yourself unnecessarily. Stronger because you stopped letting emotions dictate direction. You are becoming internally unshakable. That is the true transformation. Not louder, not more visible, but more solid. Now listen carefully. If you have made it this far, this message was not random. It found you because you are ready. You are done explaining yourself. You are done shrinking your presence. You are done confusing silence with weakness. From this moment forward, you move with strategy. You protect your energy. You master your reactions. Let this be the line in the sand. If you know your silence is strength, type strategic silence in the comments and declare it boldly. Like this video if you are stepping into discipline instead of distraction. And subscribe to Return to Awakening right now if you are ready to rise quietly, build relentlessly, and shock the world with results instead of noise. This is your season of calculated growth. Stay silent, stay focused, and let your elevation speak.